Welcome to part 2 of our overview. In this section, you'll have a chance to learn more about our program and the curriculum. When you think about graduate programs in student affairs, they tend to be on a continuum, and I'm sure you noticed this as you were deciding on where you wanted to apply to graduate school. The continuum really ranges from programs that are primarily based with a counseling orientation to those that are based more in an administrative orientation. Often those programs come with a higher education label. Our program really is a student affairs preparation program, so we sit somewhere in the middle. On this slide, you'll see some of the courses you'll be taking, and I'll talk about those in more depth as we go along. I think the first thing you can expect is that graduate school is different from being an undergrad, and it's different in a lot of different ways. Some of the things that you can expect from us specifically is that your classroom experience will be very experiential. It'll be very interactive. There's not a lot of courses in our curriculum where you'll sit passively and listen to lectures. Sure, there's some lectures that are sprinkled in here and there, but for the most part, there's a lot of interactive work. There's a lot of experiential work going on. We are academically rigorous. Graduate school is often more demanding than many undergraduate programs are. Our work is informed by the research we all do. And as any of our students would tell you, there is lots and lots of group work. Folks in student affairs work with groups of students, we work in groups, and so we do a lot of group work as well as a lot of individual work. In an overarching kind of way, this is what you'll learn as a graduate student in the CSAA program. Some of these are standalone courses, but one of the things that's true of our curriculum is there's a lot of material that gets integrated across the curriculum. So while some of these topics you'll see primarily in one class, many of these will pop up in different iterations across the curriculum. One of my favorite things as a faculty member is to see students light up when we're talking about something and they'll say, "Oh, that makes me think of something we learned a couple of weeks ago in this class. And now what I learned in this other class makes more sense in light of what we're talking about here." So there's a lot of integration across the curriculum. And one of your jobs as a student is to make meaning of how all these pieces fit together in an integrated way, rather than just thinking about them solely in the context of this course and this course and this course. Part of becoming a student affairs educator is experiential learning. We learn by doing. It's not enough to learn the content in our courses. We have to learn by doing the actual work of student affairs as well. There are another number of mechanisms where this happens. One of those is a practicum experience, which is more of an introductory experience that happens in the second semester of the first year, so spring semester of the first year, where you will be working in a student affairs office somewhere at UGA or on a nearby campus. So that's sort of an introductory experience. The summer between years 1 and 2 is a more in-depth experience where you have an internship. Many students do those through NOTA or through UGA, two of our professional organizations. Most people do those away from UGA, although it's certainly possible to do them here on campus. There's an internship course that goes along with that that's done via our electronic learning site. Other ways that you learn in an experiential fashion include professional development. We are a cohort-based program, and so you learn along with your classmates. In the master's program, you go through everything together. We watch cohorts really bond with each other. Often you make lifelong friends through this process. CSAA is the student organization that I know you've already had contact with. Again, that's another wonderful opportunity for professional development. And then there's professional conferences, case study competitions, we have a mock interview day, and certainly holding a graduate assistantship is a really, really wonderful way to gain professional experience. One thing I would say about all of these experiential learning pieces is that it's really important to learn what we do want to do, but it's also important to learn what we don't want to do. So often, practicum and internship are opportunities to find out more about what we really want to do, but also a way that's far briefer to find out what maybe we thought we wanted to do, but it turns out we don't want to do that as much as we thought. And that's a really valuable learning piece as well. If I were to talk about each one of these courses specifically, this would be a very, very lengthy slide. So I'm not going to do that. I am going to say that the first year of our curriculum is really about teaching you the foundations of the work we do and giving you a grounding in foundational knowledge that will set the stage for what happens in the summer when we have internship and then what happens in the second year of the program. So if you look at these lists of courses for the semesters, you'll see that a lot of this is foundations. It's giving you a basis in the work we do in the field and the knowledge you need in order to be a good practitioner, a good educator. Just a couple of things I would note. This first semester seminar I'm moving in is a really what we think of as a very lovely experience led by doctoral students to help you get grounded and to help you with the transition into graduate school. You will notice in both years, the first and the second, that in the spring there's an Issues in Student Affairs course. That's a special topics of 1 hour courses that deal with current events. For instance, this year the courses are community colleges, women's centers, and new student orientation programs. So it's a nice way to get some additional time on some very specific topics. Most students do their internships in the summer between the first and second year. Although it is possible to do internship hours that second year during fall and spring semester, it works more effectively, I think, for most people to be doing this in the summer in between. This is one of those places where our networks of UGA alums and friends comes in really, really handy. And like I said, many students get their internships through NOTA and ACUOI, two professional associations that have strong internship programs. But there are times when what you can do through those two programs may not fit the learning you want to accomplish. They may not really fit for what you want this experience to be. We've had a lot of success in working with alums at a variety of different institutional types to help students find meaningful internships. The second year of the curriculum is much more about application. So if we set the foundation in the first year and you learned all those foundational pieces with a lot of content, the second year is much more about now. What do I do with all that I've learned? And obviously, you've been doing with it through practical experiences, practicum, internship, assistantships. But this is where you do more of that application and learning how to do applications through the second year curriculum. One of the things that I'm certain that you've noticed here is the line in the middle that says comprehensive exams. The University of Georgia Graduate School requires us to have some sort of comprehensive examination process in a master's program that has to be successfully completed in order for students to graduate. The position we've evolved to is an exam that lasts a week. It's a take-home exam. You have questions you respond to. You have a week to do it. You can use resources, accept other people. Um, and it's a way for you to demonstrate what you've learned and to show us that that you can respond to these questions that we're posing for you. We also understand that this can be a pretty anxious time, and so we have a number of mechanisms built into the curriculum to help you get ready for this and to show us that you really have learned and that you understand and that you're ready to have a master's degree. As I know you are all well aware, graduate education comes with a price tag, and this is ours. On this slide, you can see what the costs are for in-state tuition and for out-of-state tuition. I will note that we don't know what the numbers are for next year yet. They don't tend to vary a lot from year to year. These are the numbers for this year. Assistantships waive tuition. So if you're on an assistantship, you will not pay tuition. And this is noted on the slide in red, and I think it's important to remember that student fees aren't covered by assistantships, so you will have to pay student fees. Here's the approximate pay for assistantships. Again, we typically don't know what that's going to be until June, but this is what it looks like for this year, and I doubt that that's going to change a lot. This slide also lists additional expenses. One of the things that I've felt really good about as a faculty member is that our library often has ebooks available for textbooks that I'm using for class. And so it's helpful in that you're not having to spend as much money for textbooks as students have in the past, but you can see other costs that are likely to be part of what you'll incur as part of coming to graduate school. Again, here are the ways you can follow us, be in contact with us, and see who we are on social media and the lives we're living here at UGA. Go Dogs.